one side of the knife and tap it, only one side changes. Now, believe it or not, this is a good surprise. People go, what? One side? How could you do that? You say, well, you might want to check that out. Usually they grab the knife, they start rubbing it, they start shaking it, they don't figure it out. Nobody knows about the paddle move. They have no idea how it's done. Now you're ready for the last phase. You turn this over end for end. That's important. Then you do the paddle move. It looks like it's yellow on both sides. You explain that you do not have to change the entire surface. If you push it through only halfway, snap your fingers. That stops the color changing process right in the middle. Pull it out with your thumb hiding where the red and the yellow sections join. Okay? Then you say that gives you half and half. Of course, I don't recommend this personally because if you do this, you might smudge the ink right where the colors join. This is my favorite part of the routine. Very slowly, you peel your right thumb off the knife, and when you hand this out for examination, they will see a smudged orange thumbprint right in the middle. I never say anything about the thumbprint. I just hand it out, and I let them tell me. They look at it and say, "Wait, look, I can see your thumbprint right in the middle." I say, "Really?" "Yeah." After everybody examines the knives, here's the setup for your next performance. One in each hand, the half and half in your left hand. Just casually put one in each pocket, and you're ready to do the whole thing over again. And that is Daryl's color-changing knife routine. This is called Four of a Kind. It's a trick by Di Vernon, and it's very simple, very clean, very direct. Only a small bit of preparation. Take any four of a kind and reverse them on the bottom of the deck. So they are face up on the bottom of a face down deck. That's it. Now, if you want to, you could shuffle the cards a little bit, keeping those cards reversed and remaining on the bottom of the pack. Just make sure you don't expose them. Here's what I like to do. Shuffle the cards a few times. Say, here, you take half the deck. Have somebody from the audience take half the deck. You take the remaining half and say, do as I do. What you do is you hold the cards face down in the overhand shuffle position in your right hand. You say, just shuffle them up. Anytime you want to stop, you can stop. When you do this, you stop when you're about halfway through your half deck. And then you say, put two cards face down on the table. Now, in gesturing to do this, you actually turn your entire packet over as you point to the table. When you put the two halves together, or the two packets together, you hold a little finger break between them. And what I like to do, I don't like to hold the little finger break for too long, so I step the upper packet. Now, it's very hard to see, but there's a small step. That entire upper half of the deck is stepped forward. If you want to now, you can actually place it down on the table. That's up to you. So the spectator shuffles, the spectator deals two cards onto the table after their shuffle, and it's important that you put your two cards down first. Later they might say, well, maybe you put down specific cards because my cards were marked, or who knows what they're going to think. But you put your cards down first. Those will be two of the four aces. These are two indifferent cards from the shuffled half that the spectator has. Now turn your cards face upwards, retaining the step. That's very important. There's a small step. Turn them face up, retaining the step. The spectator does the same thing, except of course they don't have a step, you hope. You take their two cards, the indifferent cards, and when you place them face down in your face-up packet, all you do is the lower of the two cards goes right up against the step, and that's where you put them in. So what you've done is you've got half face-up. That's the separation between the face-up and the face-down cards. That's where the spectator's cards go, and you still have two more face-up aces on the bottom of the packet. Okay, now once you put them in, you can put it down again. You don't need to hold a break. You don't need to hold a step, because these cards, these in-jogged cards, will maintain the separation between the two halves. Spectator does the same thing. They put your two aces face down in their face-up half. There's only one more thing to do. As you push them in, you push down on the in-jogged cards. That gives you a temporary break between the two packets. You do a half pass. Now, a half pass is not one of my favorite moves, but it's done in the act of putting the whole packet down on the table, so it's pretty well covered. Here's what happens. You grab the upper half. You just, secretly underneath this, is you just turn these over and put them back. So it's like this. You grab this, turn them over, put them back as you put the deck down. Spectator just puts the deck down. You fan these out or spread them on the table. You've got these two cards. They've got those two cards. And if everything was done properly, the two cards that you have, which have been switched in, are the two aces. The two cards you gave the spectator, in this case, are the other two aces, and you finish cleanly with four of a kind. The trick question. This is the way I like to present the classic red and black ace transposition. There are many different ways to do the red and black ace transposition. One very, very simple method is to have the red and black aces alternating like this. You show the bottom ace as a black ace, and when you apparently place it down on the table, you perform the glide. So it looks like this. There's a black ace that goes on the table. Well, that was the glide, so actually that's a red ace. And because you glided back the lower card and you pulled out this card, that means the top two cards are squared up. So you're ready for an instant and automatic double lift. So that shows apparently the second black ace, which you place down, and you have the transposition of the two red and the two black aces. That's one way to do the trick. Pretty good method. Another method is by Dr. Jacob Daly, where you start like this, and you do a biddle move first to do the opening displacement. So you say, here's a little mystery with actually they should be separated, I suppose. You say there's a red ace. In showing the first black ace, the ace of clubs, you hold a break between the two red aces, you do the biddle move, and you steal the second red ace underneath the packet, like this. And now this is a double, because you did the biddle move. So 1, 1, 1, and 1. You take this double, place it on the bottom, and you say, and that of course traps the red aces in the middle. Well, it looks pretty fair. The only thing the audience doesn't know is that underneath the ace of spades is the second red ace. Now you square them up and you say, well, the first black ace goes there. That's a lie. You did the biddle move, so that's really a red ace. The second black ace, you're going to do basically a double lift off the bottom of the packet. Here's how that's done. The thumb pulls the top card over, so the bottom two cards are squared up. You just grab them at the corner and turn the double face up. Okay? Buckle or pull down, and you apparently turn the top card face down, but that's a double, so it looks like the second black ace, but actually you have the black aces here and the red aces are there. That's another nice way to do the red-black ace transposition, but my favorite method has no displacements and it's very clean and direct. I use simply the Gemini count by Brother John Hammond. A nice thing about this is that you can show the order of the aces. Usually I confuse the audience a little bit by crossing the hands, fanning them out. I like to have the ace of spades on the face of the packet. So it's 4 cards, 2 red, 2 black. Now when you do this and you square them up, hopefully the audience doesn't really know the exact order of the aces. Now to do the Gemini count, here's what happens. The thumb moves the top card back a little bit to your left, then the middle fingertip buckles the bottom card. So what you're really doing with your right hand is you're grabbing the 2 middle cards squared up, you pull them both out, turn them face up. And I hold a little Greek break at the base of the thumb, like this. So it looks like the first black ace. You saw the presentation and the performance. I say 3 questions. The first question, what color is this? They'll say black. Absolutely correct. Turn the double face down. Put the ace of clubs apparently on the table. Second question, what's the color of the next ace? Now you're going to do a double off the bottom. Top card moves off to the side. You take 2 cards off the bottom, flip them face up. That looks like the second black ace. Pull down with the little finger or buckle with the index finger. Turn the double face down and you say, now the question is, what color or which ace do you think most people would say is on the top? Taking what they think is the ace of spades, putting it on the bottom. And most people would say, well, I would guess the ace of clubs. And then you say, well, most people would say that, but this is the trick question. Actually, it's the ace of spades that's on the top, clubs is on the bottom, and hearts and diamonds are here just to confuse you. And that is the trick question. Chinese laundryman. All you need is about a 6-foot length of rope, 6 or 7 feet, something like that. The exact size is not important. All you do is you show the rope, put it around your neck like this, and a handkerchief. Usually a silk handkerchief is good, about 18 inches square. You can do this with a borrowed pocket handkerchief. If you're wearing a suit and you have like one of these pocket silk scarves, you can use that as well. In fact, you can actually do this with a silk stocking. If you have a nice bright red silk stocking, that works out very well. Here's what the move is. There is actually no move at all. It's the lark's head knot, all right? You rope this first, let the audience see, nice and tight, and you hold it in the middle with your left hand. Now you take the clothesline. You could take it by the middle, but actually I like the idea of taking it about 3/4 of the way up. So if you have it around your neck and the ends are even, on your right side, grab about halfway down. So that will give you approximately 1/4 and 3/4 on the other side of your hand. There's a reason for this. Now, you take this part of the rope like this, you make a loop. All you do is you take these 2 ends and you stick the 2 ends through the loop. First the small one, and then the long one like this. Now this is the lark's head knot, all right? Now after you do that and you tighten it up, you can show it very cleanly. There is no deception. That's a real knot. It's really tied around the middle of the handkerchief. Then you tie a square knot or a granny knot near the ends of the corners. In other words, don't tie the knot way down up against the rope. Okay? The only reason I don't necessarily do it at the middle of the rope is because when you pull now, all you do is you pull on the rope, and that, in a way, transfers the knot from the rope to the silk. So now there's a lark